Hey everybody, welcome to MuscularDevelopment.com's preview of the IFBB Pro League San Marino Pro happening this coming weekend in San Marino, Italy. And the man who's going to be on the scene, along with his lovely companion, Giles Tiger Thomas and Rosie Rascal Hart will be on the scene for us. And I've got Giles right here via Skype to talk all about the show coming up. Welcome, Giles. Welcome.
Hey, Ron.
I don't know if you even noticed, like the last time we talked, I wear this shirt just to talk to you, the English.
well, I've got a shirt on that Rosie calls my sexy cowboy shirt. I don't know why. I think she thinks I look like Rick out of Walking Dead, but he only weighs like 120, so and he's
no, he does not. How dare you? Andrew Lincoln, he's not the biggest guy, but he's Australian, isn't he?
No, he's English.
Oh, is he English? Okay.
He's English, yeah. He's from London.
All right, so I try to steal your thunder, but it's actually a UK guy. Okay. So this is the final men's open show of the year. Thank God. I mean, we're almost in December. There's still shows happening. The Olympia was over 2 months ago. These poor guys still dieting. Oh, I feel terrible for them. But have you been to this show before?
No, I haven't. But this is one of these shows that I honestly thought was going to be, like you said, it's 2 months after the Olympia. And I honestly thought it was going to be a bit of a poor show. I thought maybe you'll get maybe one big name looking to try and qualify for 2018. Yeah. But I'm really surprised at how the lineups come together. I mean, there's guys there who jumped in like in the last week. You know, we'll mention them, 2 names that I'm really, really excited to see because I think it's shaping up to be a really good show. Yeah, and it's 26 guys in the lineup, man. That's not too bad, you know. So, but the thing about this show is there's going to be a lot of guys like making pro debuts, a lot of I mean, as most of the names on this list I don't even recognize. Yeah. But this is a good opportunity for these guys, you know, that you think, oh, a couple of years, that guy, you know. So it's good to see new faces, good to see the established names, but it's also good to see the new faces, and so that's one of the reasons I like going to these kinds of shows in particular.
Yeah. So before we even get into the show, what's the schedule? When do you guys get to Italy, and when's everything happening?
Well, we're leaving Friday night because we have to fly very early on Friday morning. Yeah. We fly from Heathrow because it's like a 4-hour drive to the airport. So we'll go the night before, flying to Bologna, and but my friend said that there'll be a lot of UK people on that flight, so hopefully we don't have to take the train. So we'll be in sort of Saturday afternoon, and then literally as soon as we get to the hotel, we'll be grabbing people for interviews, footage, you know, and just arranging things at the expo and just trying to get as much content as we can for MD, you know.
So everybody, Saturday you can start looking for content. Giles and Rosie will be grabbing interviews, and I don't know if you've seen their interviews. They've got a unique flair, different interview style. Giles is probably going to bring that suit that he made a whole thread to show you his awesome new suit. Are you going to be wearing that one?
No, it's not going to be here till, it's not going to be here till Christmas. I'm gutted, mate.
That's a sweet suit. But, so when is the judging take place for the pro show Sunday?
Yeah, apparently they're not deciding till Thursday on whether it's going to be a run through or separate. But I believe that the show starts, the pro show starts at 4 p.m. on Sunday. Yeah. And then they don't know yet. They're going to decide on Thursday whether it's going to be, like I said, a run through or judging break, you know, a couple of hours. But there's a big expo, so there's going to, like, there's a lot of guys going to be. I've seen like Victor, Dexter. I've seen people like Sean Roden. I don't know whether these. I think Rowley. A lot of their kind of big names they invite over because they realize that they're as big a draw at the expo as the competitors are on stage. So it's going to be good. It's going to be a good opportunity to see plenty of people. So we're going to get to the expo. We're going to be literally from Sunday morning. We're going to be at the expo early because we just want to grab as many interviews as we can. Yeah. You know, and get a chance to sort of set things up and so. We'll be there, mate, doing loads of pap shots and interviews and all sorts. So it'll be great.
So is Italy in the same time zone as UK or no?
I think it'll be 1 hour ahead.
I'll have to confirm that. So UK is 5 hours ahead of East Coast time. Mm-hmm. So I'll confirm this on the play-by-play thread and everything. But there's going to be a play-by-play. Giles and Rosie are doing that. You guys all need to check that out. But I'm trying to figure out the time. So we're looking at Sunday morning. Early morning on the west coast of the USA and probably late morning on the East Coast. But I will get those times up for everybody so they can be sure not to miss a beat. So now, let's get into this competitor list of the final open men's bodybuilding event of the year for the IFBB Pro League. Like you said, I don't know a lot of these names either. But the first one, we were talking just before we started recording, and there's a young guy from Brazil who Rosie's coach, Patrick Tour, has been working with that you say has got some tremendous potential. His name is Rafael Brandao. What do you know about this guy?
Yeah, well, he was popping up on my newsfeed a few weeks ago, and I actually messaged Patrick and said, Patrick, who is this kid? I said, he is absolutely awesome. And he said, Giles, the kid's 26. You can see he's got that beautiful natural genetic structure. He's got ridiculous legs. I mean, they're ridiculous. I mean, but they're not just big. They're absolute. They've got that kind of almost like lightweight, shredded kind of feel to it. You know, he's one of these guys, I think 26. And the thing is, Patrick's got him under his wing now. So you know that guy in a couple of years. I mean, he might make an impact this weekend. I'd like to think so. But at 26, all the photos I've seen, he really, really impresses me. Nice small waist, wide shoulders, like a little Dennis Wolf almost with better balance, I think. I mean, sometimes you think, oh yeah, well, maybe he'll be great by the time he's 30, but maybe he might go straight in and make an impact. You don't know, because some of the photos, things you never know how these guys are going to translate on stage. They might look great in photos,
yes, and
then when you see them next to the big guy, the Cedrics and guys, they kind of like fade away. But yeah, I'm interested to see this kid, especially the young guns, the new up and comers. I always get excited about seeing these guys, so it'll be interesting to see how good he looks on stage.
This is his pro debut?
Yes, yeah, pro debut, yeah.
Next on the list, the controversial Hadi Chupan from Iran. I say controversial because the Asian Grand Prix a couple months back, there was a big brouhaha backstage. I like to use that word, brouhaha, where he was very upset with his placing. And, poor Flex Lewis had to endure some travails from his fans and online and so forth. But, man, this guy's built like a brick shithouse, as we like to say in the U.S., built like a tank, 212 competitor. But, these 212 guys can, as Jose just showed last weekend at the Ferrigno, and Bonac has been showing now for a couple of years consistently, they can hang with anybody. How do you think Hadi is going to be able to, compare with these larger men like Cedric and Curry?
I think he's going to do very well, because I was really excited when I heard he was in, not because it's a 212 doing an open show, because the first time I saw Hadi, he popped up on my Instagram feed before the Olympia, and they said he's qualified for the Olympia. I think he won the amateur Olympia, and he qualified, and he was doing like in the leaning Dorian pose, and I just couldn't believe how thick this guy was. He was, I can't even think of an equivalent. But he wasn't just big. He was striated. He was detailed. I just thought, this guy's a monster. I mean, I don't know how he's going to look when he goes up against the other guys and they start, the structure of it. And then obviously had the problems with the visa. Yeah. Now, I assumed then he was going into, he was going into the Open Olympia. Then he turned up to Korea as a 212. Yeah. And he was, even though he must have lost probably 20 pounds to get that, it looked like it anyway, to get down to that 212, he just looked, phenomenal at a 212. Yeah. The thickness, it's like I said, it's not just the density, the size, which a lot of these guys can get now. It's the detail I like. It's that kind of that thick chest, but the striations, just splintering. So I'm really interested to see whether, like I messaged, I was talking to Jose on MD the other week, and I said, what weight are you going to come in? And he said, well, I'm going to come in the same weight as I do when I look my best, which is around 210. And I think sometimes when you hear about these 212 guys going into the Open, you just assume they're going to come in heavier. Yeah. But like Jose said to me on MD, he said, well, no, he says, I look my best at 210. He says, I'm never going to be 260, 270. So to try and to come in 220 or whatever, he says, I'm not going to be in my best condition. I'm probably going to lose my shape. So I'll play my game. Yeah. So I'm interested to see whether Hadi's going to come in looking like he did at Korea, or whether he's going to come in and actually, because in that photo I saw before the Olympia, that guy looked like, you wouldn't have, but if somebody had said he was a 212 when you saw that photo, you would have said that's a virtual impossibility. But then if he does come in a lot bigger, will he lose that shape, or will he get just, will the stomach blow out? Yeah. So he's going to be the biggest wild card, and he is not going to look small next to anyone. I think he's going to be a solid third, mate. I really do. I do. I think he'll be in the first call out.
So the pictures that you saw shortly before the Olympia, you're saying he was like 225, 230 or so?
He looked bigger, mate. He looked bigger than that.
Wow. And condition-wise, pretty close?
Yeah, his condition, you could see he looked like, say, how you'd expect a competitor to look at, say, 6 weeks out. You know, a little bit to come off the legs. But, I mean, he looked twice the size that he did at Korea.
Wow.
So I think because of what happened, I assume he was going into the Open at the Olympia.
Yeah.
And then obviously afterwards thought, oh no, well, I don't think he planned to do 212 at the Olympia. I think he planned to be an Open. And then I think he wanted, because he prepped, didn't get to do the Olympia. And then I think maybe he thought, right, well, I'll go after Flex at Korea and see what happens there. So it's building a lot of drama. It's good because I'm just really curious to see how he's going to look. I just hope he comes in at his, you see, your best weight is whatever you look your best at.
Right.
So it might be 212, it might be 230. You might come in at 230 and blow everyone away. You don't know.
Yeah.
So he's the biggest. He's going to be the one I'm most nearly apart from Cedric. I'm most excited to see how he looks on the day. Yeah,
because it's interesting you say that, because someone like, I agree with Jose. I don't think Jose would look better at 225, 230, even though he could easily do that if he wanted to. But someone like, a good example is someone like a Hide Yamagishi, who I think Hide actually did look better 220, 225 versus when he goes down to 212, he loses a certain amount of fullness and it hurts him. But Hadi's crazy looking, that guy.
Yeah, it's like you said. I want to know what his best look at his best weight is. It's like Neil Hill said to me a few years ago. He said, Giles, he said, the best Flex Lewis I've ever seen, I've said this before, is Flex at 225. He said that would blow your mind.
Yeah.
So you got these guys there who are maybe sacrificing a little bit of awesomeness, or whatever you want to call it, to make 212. But this Hadi, he might. With no weight restriction, and now, he might come in at 225, 230, and just, potentially he's even next to Brandon or Cedric, he ain't going to get blown away.
Cool. So the next guy we're going to talk about, I believe it's 3 wins this season already. Brandon Curry started off with, was it New Zealand was the first win, then the Arnold Australia, and he just won the Ferrigno Legacy. He's having a great year. Obviously, some help from Kuwait and the Camel crew. Brandon Curry with all this new size. Were you surprised that he decided to keep going after after the Ferrigno to do one more show?
Yeah, I am actually. Yeah, I'm very surprised. In fact, I was. I think I said to you last week. I think I sent you on a message, and I said, I hope either Cedric or Brandon turns up, because whoever wins the Ferrigno, I'm expecting the guy who comes second to turn up.
Yeah.
I didn't expect whoever won Ferrigno to turn up. So now, I mean, he's kind of got a lot to lose, because I know the score sheets were straight firsts for Brandon last week and straight seconds for Cedric. But to me, Cedric looked, I don't know, maybe from the photos I saw, to me it was a flip of a coin, because, I'm like you, I'm a big Cedric fan, and I'm a big Brandon fan.
Right.
But for me, Cedric really bringing his best look. He maybe looked a bit flat. I don't know, because thing is, you're going to look flat next to Brandon because he's so full.
Right,
you know.
Right.
So, So with Brandon, I don't think even if he gets beat by Cedric, it's not going to put a dampener on his year. He's still going to go out with 3 pro wins because it's only a week later. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about which physique I prefer Cedric's physique. I like that look. It's a classic look with the really wide shoulders, little waist. He's taller, and, I'm not a tall guy, but I do see how impressive a guy of that height just looks when he's put together the right way. And Cedric's got so many of those attributes going his way. Condition-wise, I was only going by pictures from Ferrigno. I would have given it to Brandon just based on condition.
Oh, really?
I don't know how much more Cedric can tighten up in 1 week's time, and especially with that, it's a very long flight over there for him.
They both
got that to deal with. So I wouldn't be surprised if both of their condition is like a notch down from Ferrigno. I think the European guys might have a slight advantage with the show like that, because they're not traveling as far and dealing with the foreign environment with the food and everything. But it'll be interesting to see a rematch, and it'd actually be cool if Cedric can knock out another win for this season. Do you think?
I would love to see. I mean, like I said, I'm a big Cedric fan, and obviously he won the Arnold, but he wasn't at his best at the Arnold. He brought, his physique was improved, but his conditioning, I don't think was even of when he came second to Kai the year before.
Right.
But it was so disappointing as a big Cedric fan for the Olympia. I mean, remember we did the play-by-play. We're like, oh, I think he's 8'10". He kind of blew it. You could see he didn't want to be there. It's like, obviously, the thing is, these last two shows, Cedric's prepped himself, and he's got the condition back now. He's proved. I mean, the thing with Cedric, he's got a funny midsection. If he's off, his midsection just goes. It doesn't look right.
Right.
But last weekend, I was looking at some video on his Instagram today, and his midsection looked perfect. It looked brilliant, and he just looked just a tiny bit flat. But so potentially, if he came in fuller this week, I could see him beating Brandon, and I'd love to see it. And I don't think Brandon would be annoyed to be beaten by Cedric, because I mean, they're both sci-tech guys, and they're pretty close, and they're really on a kind of similar sort of level in terms of where they're at in the rankings.
Yeah.
But I would love to see, because I said when Rosie interviewed Cedric at the Arnold Europe, and she says, "Oh, so then is that it till next year?" And he says, "No, I'm going to do a show at the end of this year." And I said to Rosie after, I says, "I bet you he does the Ferrigno." So he did it. I said, all I care about is that he kind of redeemed. I think he knew because he said he felt like he owed, the kids he works with in the disadvantaged kids. He says, I feel like I owe them, because the money he says he makes from his competing, he puts towards these projects, which I think is very honourable. And so, of course, you can't help but really pull for the guy and really root for the guy.
Yeah.
When he says stuff like that. So I just said, even if he wins, I mean, or if he doesn't win, I just want to make sure that he comes and brings something that is going to be more like the Cedric we expected at the Olympia. So, and I think he's achieved that. So, first or second this weekend, anything below second, then he really has blown it. But
Right.
I do see this as the Cedric versus Brandon show.
Yeah, I mean, those are clearly the two guys to be watching, and if somebody can pull ahead of either one of them, I think they're going to get a lot of respect for that. But the one thing, and this is before we move on to the next guy, is when the contest schedule is so long and drawn out now, these guys were peaking, and Cedric competed at the Arnold first weekend of March, which means he started prepping almost a year ago, because just about everybody starts beginning of December. So, what does it say about what's he going to have to do after this to recuperate? Any athlete that's doing all these shows, and there are a few guys that have been going all year long. Do you think it's got to be tough on their bodies and their minds and everything to try to keep that going? And now they're going to come back right in the early spring, some of them?
Well, I don't know, because somebody we're talking about this on the MD forum, and it was saying that Cedric has to go back to the Arnold to go back as the defending champ. But I mean, surely, like you said, if he's been prepping all year, I mean, like you said, he must be sick of dieting by now, or sick of prepping, and maybe just need to clear out. But the thing is, at the same time, sometimes I've seen bodybuilders, the more they compete, the more they improve. And maybe he could do the Arnold and then take the rest of the year off, not even do the Olympia. But then he's kind of missed his opportunity at the Olympia. I mean, it's tough, but I don't know what's next for Cedric, really. I think he has redeemed himself last weekend at the Ferrigno, because at least he proved, because that's the best condition he's had this year, better than when he won the Arnold. And, and it's a smaller show. But I sometimes don't judge people, judge competitors more on their placings. I judge upon how they looked.
Yeah.
And for me, that was a win for Cedric last weekend. I was really impressed by that.
Right on. Okay, next guy to talk about. He won the Arnold Amateur, I believe, the last time you and I covered the Arnold Amateur in Ohio. A guy right there from Italy named Emiliano Dell'Uomo. I'm sure I'm screwing his name up. But I believe you know this guy a little bit, yeah?
Yeah, Emiliano. He, I think it might have been 2013 or 2014? He won the heavyweights and the overall at the Arnold Amateur in America in Ohio. Because you and I did it 2013, because 2014 I was there because Rosie was competing.
Okay.
So anyway, either year. Yeah, so... Yeah, he was, I think it was 2000, a year and a half later, he competed as a 212.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he competed as a 212. Yeah, he was, and he looked good. I think he got couple of good placings. And then he came back the following year. He came back as an open. And he's one of these guys that just improved ridiculously fast. And then I think he got fifth. I think it was fifth place or sixth place at the Nordic Pro. So if you're making top six in these kind of shows where there's 20, 30 guys, pro debut. I remember because he had the dream tan on, and they don't like that. But I thought he looked awesome. And I'm sure he won't mind me talking about this, but him and his partner, she was competing. She competed, I think, at the Arnold 2014. And they were very much a close kind of team. They'd set up this business, and they were importing some type of drink, sports drink, and they were kind of going nationwide with it. His career was taking off. Then they got back from the Arnold, and I remember sending her an email about like an update, and she sent me this email back, and it was very. I remember reading it. I remember really touching me because she was talking about how love was kind of, I know it sounds a bit, but how love had kind of brought them together, and kind of together they felt like they could achieve anything. And then a few days later, she was killed in a car crash.
Oh, goodness. Yeah,
they got back to America, and literally I got the email a couple of days before, and she was killed in, it was just a freak accident. And of course, obviously, Emiliano was devastated. And his coach, Mauro Sassi, I was speaking back and forth regularly, and for months we were getting I said, how is Emiliano? And he said he'll never compete again. He said he's just destroyed, literally. I mean, so to see his name on the competitor list, I kind of really thrilled to see him back, because obviously that's probably just about the worst thing that could happen to you, really.
Sure.
I'm looking forward to seeing him, and I'm just so pleased to see he kind of him back. I mean, I don't know what else to say, really, but there's a guy that physique-wise could certainly make top six. He's very. I mean, I think you might have remembered him from the heavyweights. He was very balanced, but
I remember him very well, actually.
Yeah, he was balanced, but he was freaky, but he was balanced. He kind of had that European vascular, grainy, like a real sort of hardcore look, but it also with quite a nice, pleasing shape. Yeah. So there's a guy, he could be in the mix. He could certainly be in the mix. And and like I said, it's just good to see the guy back up. I mean, after what he went through, So fair play to him.
I'm surprised that he competed as a 212. I where we were sitting, I couldn't see, but he looked taller and heavier to me. Certainly beyond what would be able to make 212.
Actually, I think I've got that wrong. But I think what I've got in my head is that he was competing at 99 point something kilos. And went into the open. But I remember he came back at about 230. So he put on something like 10, 15 pounds, but it was all good, hard quality muscle, which told me that he struggled to get down to the heavyweights. Yeah. Because maybe he knew he wasn't big enough to be a super heavyweight. But that tactic won him the overall.
Now, do you guys in England still use that stones thing for your weight? That unit of measurement?
For body weights, yeah, but we go with kilos and pounds at the gym, yeah.
You need to get rid of the stones. Nobody knows what a stone is. But, sorry.
Stone's 14 pounds. So 14 pounds, what's that? 7 kilos.
So there was like an original 14-pound stone that somebody said, yeah, this is it. This is how we're gonna. No, all right. Yeah, it's like cubits. Noah's Ark was measured in cubits. It was. So next up, we got Peter Clancy from Croatia. Another good, very consistent European guy. He's done very well this year at a couple shows, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's still only in his 20s. I mean, it's like. Yeah, like I said, I remember I featured him in maybe 3-4 years ago, and I couldn't believe it. He was like 25 years old. I mean, he's just an absolute monster. But he did the Arnold Europe. I think he just might miss the top 6. He got 7th place, and he beat like Fred Smalls and some other really good bodybuilders. Yeah. But his posing was shocking. It really annoyed me because there's when you see these really big kind of thickly muscled, remember when Lee Haney said, none of that twinkle toe music, I just wanted to see him hit the big, heavy, like Dennis Wolf type posing, the classical.
Dun, and he, dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
He was just kind of just doing this weird transitions and all these kind of like, I think he hit about 50 readable biceps, and I kind of felt like he missed his chance to really present his physique. But I mean, physique-wise, he's just got to watch that midsection. If he keeps that flat, and because he is so thickly muscled. I mean, his shoulders are like the size of Michael Lockett's. Yeah, they're like the size of his head. I mean, he's a very, very like, you know, that kind of NASA type physique. He's really, but I'm interested to see him. He will certainly. I could see him landing around fourth to sixth.
Okay. Speaking of thick, we got a guy from the United Arab Emirates who he was competing a lot more often a couple of years back. I don't hear, he doesn't seem to be doing too many U.S. shows anymore. Essa Obaid. What's the deal with Essa? What's the deal with Essa? Do you know?
Essa, I don't know, because I remember when I covered the Mr. Europe, the one that Ronnie Raquel won in 2011. That was in Madrid. Yeah. And he was, I remember seeing him, and he's just so impressive. And he kind of really got his conditioning together. And, you know, you were featuring him a lot in MD, and he was working with.
He was out in California with Charles Glass for a big chunk of the year.
And it really seemed like his star was on the rise, and then he kind of just disappeared. And I thought, oh well, that's him done. And then he kind of pops up at one of the smaller Arnolds, like once a year. Kind of might not get a huge amount of publicity, and then that's it. He needs to get his ass back in the Arnold Classics. He needs to get back doing the New York Pros. He needs to be back in the Olympia, because that guy is seriously, seriously good. I mean, he's ridiculous. I think he was the guy that messaged George Farrow once at 2 a.m. to see if he could have sugar-free chewing gum.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember George telling me that story, and I said, yeah. So that was just a funny little story he told me. He said, "Can I have sugar-free chewing gum, George?" He's like, "Yeah, if you want." But Issa, yeah, he's like, what's the French guy called? I've completely forgotten his name. The French guy who was at the Olympia. The black guy. What's his name?
Oh, Lionel Bayeki.
Bayeki. Kind of like Bayeki. He's one of these guys that, you know, at his best, he's top 10 Olympia every time he gets to the Olympia. Yeah. But I don't know, I think he's picking the wrong shows. But because from what I can remember, he's just not sticking in my mind at the moment, because I don't think he's done enough big shows.
That's the thing. If somebody's not on your mind, and you know, and we're constantly looking at contest results and previews and who's going into shows, and this guy's like off our radar now. He's too good to be off our radar.
Absolutely. So, it's like him and Bayeki. There's two guys that need to start getting a bit more active and picking bigger shows and going for more higher profile shows, because they're good enough to crack top 10 Olympia at their best. But you know, I mean, I can't remember ever thinking of a show that he's done where he's not been in condition. I mean, he's more hit than miss, you know.
I know he's won a few shows. I know he has.
But so he's just specifically prepped for this one show, this kind of this end of the season, end of the year European show.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe he thinks he's going for an easy win, so maybe he will look absolutely sensational. I mean, that would be very cool. I mean, you know, he could be pushing.
Yeah, he could be pushing him, but I mean, if you're going for an easy win, and Cedric and Brandon Curry are in the show, good luck. You're not going to have an easy. You might win. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, he needs to. Yeah, just lay off the sugar-free chewing gum, and he'll be all right.
So another Brandon Ray, B. Ray. I've often confused him with Brandon Curry at times, just because of the names. I know they look completely different. But what are your thoughts on him? He's not quite as large as Brandon Curry, but pleasing shape, very symmetrical guy, small waist from what I recall.
Yeah, I remember when he did the Vancouver, and he got a really low placing. I remember going right through the photographs, and I was thinking, why is this guy getting placed so low? I don't get it. And I know he doesn't get grainy hard, but he's got a beautiful physique. He's got a kind of physique that like 25 years ago would have been maybe top 6, top 10 Olympia. Yeah. I don't know what it is, because he's kind of on that cusp of is he too big for 212 or too small for open? Yeah. And I've yet to see him really dry and grainy. But for me, his physique, he's not really missing anything. And I saw one show. I don't know whether it was Vancouver, and the lineup wasn't that great, and he got beat by guys who really physically weren't really better than him, but they were just in better condition. They were just dry, hard, grainy. And I just thought, he's not even cracking these kinds of shows. And it was baffling me because he has got a really good physique. And I think, because I've not actually seen him on stage in the flesh yet, I'm interested to see how he translates to, being in front of me and seeing how he looks, because there's a guy that is really good. And maybe I don't know, maybe I'll look at him and think, yeah, he really should suck it down to 212. I don't know. I'll find out his body weight on the weekend. I'll maybe try and grab him for an interview.
Yeah. I want to say that he is on that cusp, and I bet he could probably get down to 212 and he'd be in just crazy, crazy condition, which I've never seen from him. I agree. I've known him since he was an amateur, and he's gotten in pretty good condition. He's never gotten that condition that you go, wow, ever. And I think
he's been impressive. I mean, he was working with Patrick, and Patrick was sending me a few photos, and I was like, my God, this guy, like in the lead up, and I was like, my God, he looks sensational. And then something kind of, I don't know. Like I said, I'll reserve judgment until I see him on the weekend, and then I'll have a better idea of, how he kind of sits, really.
Yeah. So next guy we'll talk about is Hungary's favorite son, Daniel Toth. Daniel's a big favorite on social media and online. He's got a huge fan base, it seems.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I remember Daniel from about 8 years ago. It was a non-IFBB show. I was actually judging, and he blew me away. I just thought, my God, this guy's, and he is like, he got 13th last weekend in Ferrigno. He's made top 6 at the New York Pro. Yeah. And Patrick's been working with him, and he's got him in seriously good condition. I mean, his back is ridiculous. He's holding a lot of muscle. There's a little bit of the widening of the waist, which I've seen, and maybe the bloating of the stomach. But things with Patrick's kind of hot and things like that. So he's one of those guys that could come in, bring in a little bit flat just to keep that stomach and that waist nice and small. Yeah. But he's brutal. I remember he did the show, the Mr. Europe show, actually in 2013. I remember I covered that for him, and I think he was 4th there, and the crowd was booing because they absolutely loved him. But I mean, there's a kid with a lot of muscle. I actually personally preferred him when he was a bit smaller. Yeah. But what it's like. It's that. Do they kind of get bigger, maybe lose a bit of structural pleasing, aesthetics, or do they kind of hold still and just kind of come in at the same size? Obviously, he's decided to get as big as possible. Yeah. So, yeah. So
oftentimes that's a successful ploy. So it might be.
Yes.
Last guy we'll talk about. He's from Slovenia. His name is Miha Zupan. And I used to save pictures of this guy when I was dieting for shows. I didn't know who the hell he was, but I would see them on like Facebook and Instagram. He would get in the most crazy shredded condition, like skinless. Looked like they peeled the skin off and just spray painted it flesh tone, the muscularity underneath. I don't know how he's done as a pro, but condition, he's definitely a freak. Definitely someone who's going to catch people's eyes.
Yeah, he was with us. I actually saw him at we walked past him at the Olympian. I said I went up and shook hands with him at the food court. He's one of those guys that you could look at in the off season and you think he's harder than when I compete.
Yeah, wow.
He's just one of these naturally vascular guys. He's just so short. He's very, like you say, it's that grainy, hard. They got that pet. You see with no tan on, and it's almost like it's the sort of thing that the people who aren't interested in bodybuilding, they'll go, ooh,
right. It's all veins and striations for that guy,
which is cool. I mean, I think that's cool,
Sure.
But there's a guy that he's one of the more lighter muscle guys, but he does have really nice symmetry, and he's got some nice shots in his rear double bicep. There's some, there's a guy that he could squeeze into the top 6, absolutely. In fact, he's had some good placings. He's done all right. I don't think I've ever seen him place outside of the top 10 as a pro, and he competes quite frequently. Yeah. So there's a guy that he's one of the Yamamoto boys.
I should mention, everybody, this particular contest our coverage is sponsored by Yamamoto Nutrition. So that's why I got my other company banner turned around for this, out of respect. But Yamamoto Nutrition is making this all possible, everybody. And so he's with Yamamoto. Yamamoto's coming up. They're sponsoring a lot of stuff lately. So
yeah, they're all everywhere. And their stand at the Arnold Europe was spectacular. So, because I believe Nathan Dash is going to be there as well. So, obviously they're bringing all the Yamamoto boys for the expo. So we'll make sure we get over there and we grab plenty of interviews, because I'm interested to see what like Nathan's up to. I think he said he's up to some 130 kilo or something, and he's still got abs or something. It's like, oh,
that's 270, 275.
Something, yeah, something like that, yeah. But you know, the things with Nathan, he's without going off topic, he's one of those guys who likes to hold good condition even in the off season, because he wants to keep those 90. He calls it the 90s aesthetics, which kind of is something I think we a lot of us do yearn for, you know, as fans, you know. Yeah. But anyway, go back to Miha. Yeah, Miha could be a threat. Yeah, he could be. I'm interested to see that kind of the first call out with the first guy, but I'm also very interested to see the second call out to see who will make up the best of the rest in terms of the Mihas, the Toth, the Rafaels, the Brandon Rays, the Emilianos. So yeah, it's gonna be like kind of two separate contests here, which is because it's nice to see the emerging stars. It's nice to see the new names, the returning guys. Yeah, because there's a lot of good European pros in this show. So for me, that's especially exciting.
Now, before we leave, can you give us an update on the Tiger and Rascal show? You posted episode 6 is the last one, or am I wrong?
5.
So what's coming up on number 6?
Well, we're gonna do 2 more episodes for the end of the year. I've outsourced the first bit of work because I do everything myself. Me and Rosie do the filming, the editing. She does all the music. So yeah, I've been holding it back because I want to get some stuff from this weekend, and you know, excerpts of interviews that I'll be posting. Obviously, be going on MD first. Maybe some outtakes or stuff like that. So that'll be going out next week, and then by the end of the year, we're going to do episode 7. And then episode 8 will be out in January. But I've got a new intro, which I've had, like I said, I've had it outsourced, and a new outro. So yeah, we're trying to bump up the quality of the
production value.
Yeah. Quality of production. Yeah. So it's more of the same cool silliness.
And the YouTube channel is called The Tiger and Rascal Show.
That's correct.
Okay, everybody, The Tiger and Rascal Show. Check it out. It's pretty cool. And you get to hear Rosie singing, which is always a treat.
And me.
Do you do some singing too? No?
I mime to 5 Finger Death Punch at the Olympia, if you remember.
Oh, that was yeah, you do like the hard rock. I got to give you credit for that. But, okay. So, Giles, you'll be there with Rascal all weekend in Italy.
Hope so.
Hope so. Yeah, you know, hopefully all goes well. So everybody check that out. I'll be updating the forum with the times where you can check out their play-by-play. But starting Saturday, you'll be seeing a lot of interviews that they'll be doing from the expo and so on. I know these guys, they can get interviews with the very top names, because who could say no to an interview with Giles, especially the Rascal? You know, Rascal could have got an interview with Saddam Hussein back in the day, I bet, if he wanted to. Yeah, he's going to say no. So, appreciate you giving everyone this little sneak preview. And I believe you and Rosie will probably be starting up as soon as possible, sending videos once you're in Italy and up and rolling.
You know what? Like, as soon as we set foot, as soon as that plane lands, it's like, right, we've got, like, you know, we're gonna just. It's like we try and get as much content as we can, and that's the challenge. That's the challenge I enjoy. Like we did at Olympia. I mean, how much content did you and me produce? I mean,
without press passes.
Yeah.
We should get an award for that. But whatever.
I mean, that night at Meet the Olympians run, well, I mean, I wouldn't have believed that you could get like 12, 13 interviews in an hour, but somehow
that was ridiculous.
That was such a fun night, and we had I think Steve gave me a good 5 seconds to prep for one of the interviews, because Marcus Rule stood next to me. He's like, Giles, interview Marcus Rule, and I'm like,
get him. Yeah. But it worked.
So much fun. Great. Somehow you do that one, I'll do this one.
Yeah. But look forward to see what the Tiger and Rascal team can pull off in San Marino. So, everybody, be sure to check out our coverage this weekend, coming to you from San Marino, Italy, courtesy of Tiger and Rascal. So, thanks to Yamamoto Nutrition for sponsoring our coverage, and we'll see how it all shakes out over there. Thank you, John.